I'm Leeona and I have taken studio art this year as a subject. My theme for my folio is the 4 seasons. I picked this theme because I've always had an interest in just the environment and nature. I also thought that it would be a very good theme to work with, considering it comes across as pretty simple and to the point, but I was able to expand on it and think of many different ideas in the one idea. So when I started, I came up with 4 different concepts in the one theme. So like I said before, the overall theme was the 4 seasons, and then I came up with 4 concepts in that, which were mood, animals, nature, and fashion. I picked these 4 concepts to talk about because I thought that each of these themes had something to do with the 4 seasons. For example, mood, I was focusing on how the 4 seasons affect an individual's mood and the way someone feels due to their surroundings and the environment. With animals, I was focused on how each animal kind of has a preferred environment that they like to live in. For nature, it was pretty to the point. I was just focusing on the different nature in the seasons and how the trees change through the year and just all the different flowers and leaves. And fashion, I didn't want it to be so literal and be like a jacket for winter, a bathing suit for summer. I wanted to create something that was more outside the box, and if someone were to wear this garment that I was going to construct, or even just look at it, they would instantly feel like they were part of the season because it just really represented it and looked like it. After coming up with these 4 concepts, I trialed many different artworks, all ranging from painting to photography. I even pressed flowers, and I also trialed stitching and embroidery. There was a lot going on, but all of that in the end led me to what I wanted to do. So I decided that I wanted to choose mood and fashion as my main ideas to focus on for the final artworks. Now with the mood artwork, I really loved graphic design and the simplicity of it. With this concept, it is pretty much representing, like I said before, how the 4 seasons affect a mood and the way someone feels. After taking many photographs of my friend, I chose the one that I wanted and I edited it in a way that made it look like there was flowers and nature coming out of her head. So this was to show how I used photo manipulation to represent how she has been affected by the 4 seasons and they're in her mind. So then I started to edit all of this on Photoshop and create it digitally just using the flat color that Photoshop provides me with. In the end, I didn't want it to be so flat, so I did add a little bit of texture to the artwork. Now with fashion, that was definitely an experience for me. I learnt so much along the way, so many different stitching techniques, embroideries and everything. It was incredible. It definitely took a lot of time. First, I decided that I wanted to create 4 dresses, each representing a season. I had actually gotten inspiration from a Disney princess, Elsa, just because she represents winter. And if you just look at what she's wearing, you feel the season winter and you can really imagine it. So I sketched out each dress before starting. I then bought all of my different fabrics and beading and string and everything. I was pretty much on the sewing machine every day. So I started off with the autumn dress, which I made these like big leaves coming off the shoulders. They kind of resemble shoulder pads in a way. I wanted to still look like a real dress, but just with its theme of the season it was representing. Stitching on those big leaves was definitely the hardest part. I then made a trail of leaves going all the way down the dress, which represents the way the leaves always fall down the trees in autumn. And I also added some little leaves around that, which I embroidered by hand. For the winter dress, I was inspired by rain and icicles and just a cold feeling. I used this icy blue material for the whole dress, and I had cut out shapes on the hemlines that looked very pointy, sort of like icicles. I also did lots of beading to represent even more icicles and rain. I originally wanted this dress to be long, but I thought that with the icicles hanging down the bottom of the dress, it would look much better if it was short. So to keep that long dress concept that I originally wanted, I added a long train at the back of the dress with a very sparkly material. Next was the spring dress. This was definitely the longest and most time consuming and probably the hardest. This one is pretty to the point. I think when everyone thinks of spring, they think of trees and vines covered in blossoms. So my dress was pretty much that. So I just made a long dress using both satin and tulle, and then I did lots of embroidery, which took a while, and then I sewed all these little white flowers and blossoms to stitch onto the dress. Lastly, with my summer dress, there isn't a lot going on with this. The whole dress is just one fabric and it looks a little bit more simple compared to the other ones. My concept with this was to just represent the rays of the sun and the way that it shines. So overall, I think that I have really presented my subject matter to the audience how I wanted. I really wanted to make everyone aware of the beauty in the environment and the 4 seasons. It was definitely a great learning experience for me and a long but exciting journey.